What determines your resources? We've said decisions shape destiny, which is my focus here. If decisions shape destiny, what determines it is three decisions. What are you going to focus on right now? You have to decide what you're going to focus on in this second, consciously or unconsciously. The minute you decide to focus on something, you got to give it a meaning, and whatever that meaning is, produces emotion. Is this the end or the beginning in emotion then creates what we're going to do or the action? So think about your own life, the decisions that have shaped your destiny. And that sounds really heavy, but in the last 5 or 10 years, 15 years, haven't there been some decisions you've made that if you made a different decision, your life would be completely different? The history of our world is these decisions. When a woman stands up and says, no, I won't go to the back of the bus, she didn't just affect her life. That decision shaped our culture. Or someone standing in front of a tank. Or being in a position like A.R. Lance Armstrong and someone says to you, you've got testicular cancer. That's pretty tough for any male, especially if you ride a bike, right? You got it in your brain, you got it in your lungs. But what was his decision on what to focus on? Different than most people. What did it mean? It wasn't the end, it was the beginning. What are you going to do? He goes off and wins 7 championships. He never once before the cancer because he got emotional fitness, psychological strength. That's the difference in human beings that I've seen of the 3 million I've been around. Because that's what my lab, I've had 3 million people from 80 different countries that I've had a chance to interact with over the last 29 years. And after a while, patterns become obvious. You see that South America and Africa may be connected in a certain way, right? Other people say, oh, that sounds ridiculous. It's simple. So what shaped Lance? What shapes you? 2 invisible forces, very quickly. 1 state. We all have had times. Have you had a time you did something and after you did it, you thought to yourself, I can't believe I said that? I can't believe I did that. It was so stupid. Who's been there? Say hi. Have you ever done something after you do it? You go a ham. That was me. It wasn't your ability. It was your state. I should be able to change that quickly. But what I want to finish with quickly here is your model of the world is what shapes you long term. Your model of the world is the filter. That's what's shaping us. That's what makes people make decisions. We want to influence somebody. We got to know what already influences them. And it's made up of 3 parts, I believe. First, what's your target? What are you after? Which I believe it's not your desires. You can get your desires to goals, so it's needs we have. I believe there's 6 human needs. Second, once you know what the target that's driving you is and you uncover it for the truth, you don't form it, you uncover it. Then you find out what's your map. What's the belief systems that are telling you how to get those needs? Some people think the way to get those needs is to destroy the world. Some people it's to build something, create something, love someone. And then there's the fuel you pick. So very quickly, 6 needs. Let me tell you what they are. First one, certainty. Now, these are not goals or desires. These are universal. Everyone needs certainty that they can avoid pain. At least be comfortable. Now, how do you get it? Control everybody, develop a skill, give up, smoke a cigarette. If you got totally certain, ironically, even though we all need that, like you're not certain about your health or your children or money, you don't think about much where you're not sure the ceiling's going to hold up. You're going to listen to any speaker, but while we go for certainty differently, if we get total certainty, we get what do you feel? If you're certain, what's going to happen when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. What would you feel bored out of your mind? So God in her infinite wisdom gave us a second human need, which is uncertainty.
Google success, see if you get it. Google exposure, see if you get it. You have to be exposed to certain things in order for you to know it. And success is hard. If I try to get my millennials to understand it take a long time to make a lot of money. So, Daddy, you making money? You did? I'm 61. It take a long time to make a lot of money. You can't just go make money because you got Google. Let me show you something. When you get on the airplane, you ever notice when you walk on the airplane and you walk past first class, everybody in first class got gray hair. You ever notice that they all a little up in age, they're all 50 and up, especially during the week, them businessmen, they earn the right. You go in the back. It's young people back there, you got your iPhone out. You got your headsets on, them grown ass men up. They got their legs crossed. They got a briefcase out. They try and figure it out. They're trying to make this paper. They in front, but you got to be exposed to get to first class. You got to be successful to get to first class. That's why they close that curtain. See, they can't have your ass in back of that plane with that curtain open. You ain't gonna believe what's going on up there. They bringing a hot washcloth you can wash up. They passing out menus. Everybody get hot nuts. You get all you want to drink. You ain't got to pay for the headsets. You get to watch the movies free. You get a choice of what you want to eat. They got to close that curtain. If you was in the back and they left that curtain on, you're driving people crazy. Hey, where my nuts? You don't get no nuts. Hey, how come I just got a half a can of Coke? That's all we giving. How come these drinks is $5? He didn't order 3 drinks because he paid for first class. The seats is wider. Your knees can't touch the seat in front of you. It can't. The overhead space is plentiful for everybody. That's why they close the curtain. So what you have to do, you have to expose yourself to things early in life. This is my suggestion. Do whatever you got to do to upgrade to first class. If it's spend a little bit more money, it's sometime when you buy the coach ticket, when you get at the counter, just ask them, how much is an upgrade? If they say 75, just pay it one time. What happens is once you sit in that first class seat, you have now been exposed. The game changes. Now, when you see that there's actually room on each side of you in first class, when you discover that you can slouch in your seat, that your arm does not have to touch the other person's arm, that they're going to bring you a hot towel, they're going to give you a menu, they're going to let you drink all you want. You ain't got to buy the headsets. Once you fly first class, it conditions your mind to look and think for first class opportunities. Once you fly first class, let me explain something to you. Walking past first class is going to be hard. Once you've been set up there, flew a couple hours in first class, walking past them seats will be the hardest walk you make because you've been exposed.
If a win to you is being the greatest dad and husband of all time, then be the greatest dad and husband of all time. And if your number 2 priority is building your business, then it's in second place and it's going to get what it can get. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be really hardcore about second place, but one, don't value yourself for results. I will tell you right now, all the wins in business that you're ever going to get all the money in the world. It's powerful. It's amazing. And you will love taking care of your family. But even that was a reorientation back to your true number 1, if I had to guess, which is your family. So be focused on that, right? This is really about my family. If the business isn't working out, if it's not going the way that you want, look, it's going to be lame. It's going to suck. But you're going to have to alter your mind to remind yourself. My number 1 priority is my family, and what I value myself for on the business side is not accomplishment. It is not success. So decide what your priorities are and don't flinch. Don't be conflicted. Don't try to have my business as important as my family. And really don't value yourself for accomplishment. It's all about sincere pursuit. Okay, you cannot guarantee the success, but you can guarantee the struggle. So you need to extract value from knowing that you left it all out in the field. And that's it. That's all you can do. Greatness is about doing the things that are tragically boring and that you have to repeat over and over and over to get better at them in a deliberate way. You don't just want to repeat them blindly, but in a deliberate way, buckling down and doing the things like for a musician, playing your scales, practicing your improvisation, practicing your cold reading. All of the things that are very easy to put off. When you have a job and you're busy and you're making a living, it's kind of like typing. What they find is most people sort of their typing rate, if I remember right, it's like 65 to 70 words per minute is where most people tap out. But I think the record is somewhere around 250 correct words per minute. So if the average person is tapping out around 65, but the delta is all the way between 65 and 250, you begin to see like how fast, but people get to a level that they deem acceptable, and they just sort of stop there. But because everybody is being forced to shut down right now, if you're a musician and you're saying, look, I'm not worried about streaming and going live and all of that, which I am, I think there's a whole question to be answered about doing that and about how you could generate even more revenue by going online. But you asked me to set that aside. So I'm going to set that aside. But right now is that chance to embrace a level of boredom that most people are not willing to push through in order to get to greatness. So in a business context, I always tell people boredom kills more entrepreneurs than anything. It kills more entrepreneurs than fear. Most people. They just can't slog through sucking at something and sitting in the discomfort that you get from doing the things that you're not good at long enough to get good at even those things so that you can truly go out and create art. Because I don't think you can create real art until you've mastered the basics to the point where, as Bruce Lee said, you don't think kick, you just kick. And I love that quote. And there's another Bruce Lee idea, which is I don't fear the man who knows 10 000 kicks. I fear, or I don't fear the man that does 10 000 kicks one time. I fear the man that does one kick 10 000 times. And that is this moment. And if you can take this downtime and let go of how good it feels to perform, I have to imagine a big part of the reason you got into this and that you did all of the work when you were younger to get good is because you love performing so much. But right now, that's basically off the table. So if in this moment you can buckle down, be disciplined, set your sights on something very specific that you want to get good at, disciplined practice at that thing to get good at this on the other side of this, you're going to be far more extraordinary than you were when you went in because you no longer have the distractions of the actual performance. You can just get down to practicing. So flip that switch in your mind and think all about coming out the other side of this, a beast, an absolute monster, better than you went in. And if you can tell yourself that story, I'm committed to this, I'm willing to do these things that other people aren't willing to do, and put in the practice and understand as you're going through that unimaginable boredom, that on the other side of this is a skill set that has utility, then this becomes an extraordinary time. But if you keep telling yourself the story that so many others are telling, which is, this is, a time of deprivation, it's just lamenting that you're not able to perform and all the things that made you love music in the first place, then just because you're repeating that, it becomes a dark time. Focus on the other side and you will get through this amazingly.